Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will be making this delicious sponge cake recipe. Remember, for all the ingredients and measurements, it will be listed down below in the description box. Now here is the first step. So guys, here's what you will need for your sponge cake recipe. I have some salted butter, all-purpose flour, white sugar, eggs. I have some essence, nutmeg, baking powder, and in this container I have some orange powder. Now if you can't find orange powder, you can switch this out for some freshly grated orange zest. This is my homemade orange powder. If you would like to purchase some of it, it is available on Amazon. Now to get started, we are going to clear our counter and start creaming our butter and sugar. Now to a large mixing bowl, you're going to add in your sugar, and if you choose to use brown sugar, you can go ahead, but I find that the white sugar is best for this recipe. For presentation purpose, the white sugar is much better. And remember, all your ingredients must be room temperature for this recipe. Now just break this up a little bit with your spatula before you go in with your hand mixer. And if you're doing this by hand or you're using a stand mixer, the step that I will be using today remains the same. And you want to start your mixer on low and gradually increase the speed so that you don't make a mess and things doesn't start spilling everywhere. So after you're done creaming your butter for about 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to start adding in the eggs. Remember, it is not necessary for the sugar to be melted before you add in your eggs. You just have to make sure you add in them one at a time and ensure that it's completely mixed in before you add in the next egg. Now we're going to start adding in one at a time, and we're going to make sure that it's mixed completely in. You want to make sure that you follow that step. That is not a step that you will be able to skip, because it can cause your mixture, one, to curdle, and then your cake will fall. Just make sure you keep that in mind. Now that that's completely mixed in, I will add in my second egg, and I will do so until I finish all my eggs. And I'll come back and show you guys when I'm ready to proceed to the next step. So guys, I am at my last egg here. I'm going to add that in, and I'm going to go in here with my orange powder, my essence, and my nutmeg. And we're going to whip this again for about 5 minutes or so. So after mixing for that 5 minutes, everything is nicely incorporated. You want to test to make sure that the sugar is melted. You're just going to press against a little bit on the side of your spoon here, and you will feel if there's any sugar grains. If you can still feel sugar grains, then you will have to continue mixing this until you don't feel any of the sugar grains before you start adding in your flour. So guys, after your sugar is completely melted and all your ingredients are nicely incorporated, it's time to start adding in the flour. So I'm going to use a strainer and I'm going to sift this through. So I'm going to sift half of it through now, and then I'll come back and sift in the other half. So guys, the ingredients and the measurements that is listed in the description box will only give you one cake, and that is a 9-inch cake. If you would like a 1 pound cake, all you have to do is double the ingredients and you will get a 1 pound measurement. This is only a ½ pound cake. So I've added in the second half of the flour, and I'm just going to mix this in as well. So now that all the flour is evenly distributed within the batter, you're going to go in with your baking powder. Now I like to add my baking powder at last when I'm baking sponge cake and just fold it in. And when you're done mixing your cake, this is how it should be looking. Really nice and smooth and creamy. Nothing should be looking like it's curdled. But for any reason yours is looking like it's a little bit curdled, once you add the flour, you can go in back with the hand mixer and just mix it up for about 2 minutes or so. You don't want to over mix it to activate the gluten in the flour, because then your cake will come out really tough. So I'm going to place this on the side And today I will be using a 9-inch springform pan. I've lined the bottom with a piece of parchment paper. And to that, I'm gonna go in with some cooking spray. And now I'm gonna brush it evenly in the bottom here and on the sides. And to that, I'm gonna go in with some dry flour here, and we're gonna coat the pan evenly by hitting on the sides and allow it to spread evenly. And now I'm just gonna hit the bottom of my pan to get the excess flour out. Now, when you're done greasing your pan, this is how it should be looking. Before we add our batter to the pan, we want to preheat our oven to 340 degrees. So it's time to pour our batter out into the pan. And if you had your batter sitting on the counter for about a few minutes or so, you want to just give it a quick stir before you add it to the pan. And you're gonna spread this out evenly in the bottom here. So guys, I'm gonna place my cake in the oven. My oven is already preheated. Once you put your cake in the oven, you don't want to open the oven too much. Otherwise, if the temperature drop in the oven, the cake can fall. So I am going to go place this in the oven. Remember, we're putting this on the middle rack in the center of the oven. And we will bake it for 45 minutes before we check on it. So guys, I took my cake out of the oven. It took 1 hour to bake. I'm just gonna allow this to cool down and then we'll cut into it and I'll show you guys how it's looking from the inside. So guys, after it's cooled down and I remove it from the pan, this is how the cake is looking. So guys, now that my cake has cooled down, it's time to cut into it and show you guys how it's looking from the inside. And this is how it's looking on the inside. Look at how soft and spongy this is, guys. Now that's the end result of my sponge cake recipe. I hope you enjoy this recipe and I hope you give it a try. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed for more videos. As usual, I want to say thank you for watching and I will see you in my next video. Bye!